Hello guys, Wahoo here, back with another episode of the Hello Guys podcast. So this is the part 2 that you were listening maybe a couple of weeks ago, if that was what you did. If you haven't listened to the first podcast episode with, or part 1 with Phoxsty, then you should go back and listen to that one. I will link it in the description, but it's also on the channel. But yeah, if you're listening, of course, you might. If you're listening on Spotify, you should have listened to the episode 19, and this will be 20. It might change in the future what number is, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that this is the next episode, and I just wanted to make this quick intro to kind of say that because we recorded the first one, as we say in the first one, and then we weren't too happy about it, and then we redid it because I wanted to have, and he also agreed with me, he wanted to have more of him in it. So there was not very much about him. There was some great topics there's in this one, and we didn't get to cover him too much. So we made it a two-part after kind of reevaluating everything and so what. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or seeing this on there, I'm using the same, you're not seeing this on Spotify, but if you see it on Spotify, you will see it's the same gameplay I used in the first one as I used in the first one. Yeah. So yeah, again, the gameplay doesn't matter. I want to have something going on. It's not supposed to be something you're watching. It should just be something you have in the background, listening into a conversation. And yeah, maybe you're looking at my face right now, but I could also just make it all dark, but just put my face in here, right? But yeah, again, Spotify won't hear that. I'd also want to clarify in this episode that when I say I don't care about people, I don't care about people's problems that I can't help them with, because I've helped a lot of people over my many years, also through gaming, through my YouTube channel, through my stream, through my Discord. I've helped people tackle different problems and stuff like that. But when I say I don't care about people, it's mostly clarifying that I don't care if people believe what people believe in or what they don't believe in or what they are as a person. That's people's own stuff to deal with. So I will help them if they need support or anything like that. But if you believe in this religion and I believe in something else, I don't really mind whatever it is. I just want to clarify that when I say I don't care about people, but I don't care about whatever you believe in or what gender you are or what political opinions you have, or so I just only care about really that you're a nice person, and if you are that, that's what I'm going to focus on. So with that said, hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I will see you guys probably in one of the other ones. Enjoy.
Yeah.
So now you are on live now to the whole world.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, now you really have to watch what you're saying. I think I make like these things every time. I don't know why. I tell people that, of course, so they know they're being recorded now. But I like to have these kind of soft, not really intros, but I want it to be kind of natural whenever we start, right? I don't want like sometimes I make an intro and sometimes I don't. If for example, I made an intro yesterday for Moby's interview because I had the sound level, so I wanted to make sure that people knew when they went into that it started a little bit loud, and then it will like even out from the most of it, right? But I want this natural conversation just to start not naturally, but not being like a I don't know, made up thing. I guess we're already making up things, but
We're always making up things.
So
is this part gonna be part of the recording?
Yep. Sorry, I was sipping on my water. Yeah.
Okay.
It will probably be. Sometimes I cut it a bit into it, and then sometimes I cut it. Not earlier, but just when we start. So it's very different wherever I start, but usually
yeah. I had a question to you, particularly you, or maybe other topics that has been going around the community about different people, and I know one of my friends are involved, you are involved, and another community member is involved.
Oh.
So that's why I was wondering if this is going to be in the recording, because maybe we shouldn't discuss that in the actual recording.
Oh, okay. Well, the that's really up to you. I don't know what it's about. If it's something sensitive, I don't know if if it's about me, for example. If like
It's not.
if you would say, "Hey, who you kicked a puppy?" Is that true? You know, as I usually do, kick a lot of puppies. But
Yes, you do.
yeah, as I do, that's my second channel. If nobody who kicks puppies, no. Then it's about me, and I don't like kind of hide anything from people, and I don't think I've ever done anything wrong. Asking kind of like
you
I,
think?
I don't think I've stepped on anybody's toes. At least I didn't do it intentionally. If that's a thing.
Yeah, no.
But if it's about somebody else, like this conversation could also be about drama. It doesn't have to be. It's that we're hiding anything from people. It has to be like happy, good, fun times and stuff like that. We discuss a lot of things or we talk about it. The conversation is about a lot of things, right?
Yep.
So since I don't know what it is, we can just skip it and we can just talk about it.
We'll do it after the recording.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you guys, they missed out on that juicy part, I guess.
People will be excited.
Now I'm gonna just be thinking about what it's all about, this whole podcast. But no, like it is a local recording. As I do, because if I ask you a question, for example, we did do a few sensitive topics. For example, I had Steadfeed on, if you know who she is.
Yeah, I know them.
She identifies as a woman, and she is actually a man, and we had the podcast is already out about that and stuff like that, and that can be sensitive to some people. So I was very nervous asking her. I'm just gonna keep calling her because to me she's a her, and because that's what she wants to be, and that's fine. That's all right. But we can just cut stuff out. If I ask somebody like you a question and then it doesn't, and it's very sensitive, and the person didn't know, because I don't post questions to people. Like it's all about. I didn't know we were gonna have this conversation. I didn't know you were gonna, say what you're gonna say.
With the real questions. On that topic, have you ever considered being anything like other than the very normal binary? I'm a guy, I like girls, I have a PP, I don't know what your sort of TOS level is here, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
No, there's no TOS level. There's no. These are I don't know. I don't think we have to actively go out of the way to do it, but I do cater to, I feel like, a younger audience, but these are anybody. So sorry I cut you off at this.
No, that was my question. Like, have you ever thought of identified as something else? I guess let's start on your end then. Like, what do you feel? I know this is a podcast, quote unquote, interview with me, but let's hit you with it.
Yeah. It goes both ways. Usually it's just me kind of asking questions because I kind of drive the conversation. But it is very valid it is supposed to be a conversation, so it goes back and forth. So to go back to your question, because I'm answering all sorts of other questions that feel like I'm kind of what's it called? What is that word when you beat around the bush, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to do that. No, I've never identified as anything else. And it's not that. I think, and this might sound kind of weird maybe to some people, and people might want to take this out of context, but to me there's only two genders, because that's just simply for me. So there's like a guy and a girl. But if you identify as something else, as maybe, I don't know, broccoli, if that's what you want to identify as, sure, go ahead. It's not going to change anything for me. So, but in my mind, there's only two genders, but I don't judge people if they identify as something else. I might be like, a broccoli, really? Okay, all right, but sure, if that's, you go ahead and you be a broccoli, be the best broccoli you can be, you know. So I'm not judgmental to people, but to me, I just kind of identify two genders, and I've always just kind of identified as that. I don't had never had the urge to be anything else, I guess. But yeah, never crossed my mind. So it's really. What about you?
Uh, First and foremost, that's very interesting. That's very cool. I don't know. I've never met anyone who wants to be a broccoli per se. I remember there was a theme about being an Apache attack helicopter at one point, like
Oh,
a few years back. Do you remember that?
uh, no, not
No,
particularly.
I remember the internet being all up in arms about people identifying as an Apache attack helicopter because
Oh,
genders became a hot topic. For myself, yeah, no, I have definitely had moments in my life where not really questioned my sex, it's more so being uncomfortable with the society's norms.
mm,
I've never really liked the whole you draw a line, this is for guys, this is for girls. No, you do whatever you like.
mm,
I remember I once actually, back when I was working as a teacher, um, I I never really been very stereotypical in that sense. I've always been a lot of I do whatever I want and you have to suck it up. Like if I'm always going to be me because I know that me is not going to break any rules. That's sort of why I say it's not. It might seem arrogant otherwise to say suck it up, but that's at least how I treat it because I know that I won't go ahead and be like, "Oh, you're trash, I'm better. Suck it up."
mm. I
But
think that's something that the society is actually missing sometimes, where just like everybody. I don't know if this is a wrong opinion, but I'm like I think that at some point people just gotta say, really be okay with other people's whatever they are. So just like if you can't deal with it, just suck it up, and then just like instead of
I
being
just
like
turn
you're
away and like, okay, if you don't like that person because they want or identify or whatever about something, you can just say, okay, I'm me, you, and we can go our separate ways. It's
hmm,
not really that hard, at least not in my opinion. It's never been. Um, but then when I was working as a teacher, I remember one time I actually dressed up properly. I, as a female, then wore a bra, wore a quote unquote female looking shirt with shorts, and I still do to this day shave my legs because I personally feel more comfortable with that.
hmm,
I know some guys do and some guys don't, and with that, it was just interesting hearing the students' perspectives on that. So yes, I have sort of questioned my own, and where I stand today is more so I'm just, I'm gonna be me, and whatever I feel about doing that one day, I'm gonna do that.
hmm.
If I want
But
to grow a beard, I'm gonna grow a beard. If I want to wear a dress, I will wear a dress.
yeah. Do you? I think well, I talked about this with Steadfeed as well. I like um, if the problem in people's it. I know it's a fact that what people don't understand, they're afraid of, and that's what they kind of distance themselves from, or kind of be judgmental or whatever. Is it's hateful against things they don't know anything about. We know that about race and all those things, other things, right?
Hmm.
Um, do you think that by creating, um, you know, all these genders that people identify as, because um, because everybody's different, right? And also I think some people just don't want to be like, they want to be their unique unicorn in some way. Do you think that um, that there's too many genders, like it making people confused, and people, instead of people getting met with understanding and saying, sure, you can do whatever you want, people don't understand what you are, so they are afraid, and then you hate you for it. So you're actually, by making more genders, you're making it harder for yourself or for the
No,
communities.
I don't think so at all. What I do see is a problem, yes, with creating too many genders. There will be a hard time for other people understanding who you are. But I also think that the unknown sparks curiosity. And by creating more genders, you might create a gender that nobody has heard about. And when you do so, you spark curiosity in that person, being like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean for you? Who are you? Why do you identify as this? And also by creating more genders, you also allow people who might not have been daring enough or feeling comfortable enough to leave their heterosexual bubble to actually go out and say, no, I don't feel like I belong in this box. I feel like I'm trans, queer, bisexual, pansexual, demisexual, whatever it might be.
Mm.
There's so many different options. And I feel like for the person who don't want to know, they can just hear the name, say, okay, that's really cool. And then if they are curious, the person who is in the unknown can go ahead and ask for an explanation or go to the internet, because there are relatively good sources out there where you can get the information quite easily understandable for yourself.
Mm.
So
Do you then think that you're putting too much confidence into people, by saying that people, like when they hear, like you say, hear like about somebody being some gender they never heard about, and do you think you put too much faith into people? It's just gonna be okay with it, and because that's not usually people's nature. In
yeah, you're completely right in the fact that people are generally distancing themselves from the unknown. But in a sense, I think we also have to, because in this day and age, it's more common for people to not be strictly in the norm, and
mm,
people wanting to out themselves and express themselves in whatever way they can. And I think that it's better for the society to have this, and maybe we will have a generation of this. This will be our generation, and moving forward it will be narrowed down. People will get more accustomed to, people will get tired to explain whatever they are doing over and over and over and who they are. So at one point they will settle with, okay, I will go by this name. It will grow in population, and then it's sort of a way of just allowing the world to continuously expand, because at some point we have to draw a distinction. It's the same with planets. Why is Pluto not a planet anymore? We drew a distinction at one point, and I think the same will happen with genders in due time, because in the grand scheme of things, genders are still pretty new,
mm.
if it's the variety of them.
Yeah, I think it's just a long process. Maybe like it's not gonna happen in our lifetime or our children's lifetime or whatever. It's you know because it's gotta be a transition of people being more and more okay with it, and it's just not gonna happen that fast, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think that some of all this also, because I talked about this with my friend not too long ago, that I have a theory that all this people about being canceled, for example, and also about genders and all basically caring about whatever you are and stuff like that, and also people creating all sorts of stuff around like genders and whatever they do comes from a point of boredom in the world now, because like if we take the Western world, right, like most of America and of course Europe as well, and maybe kind of Russia, Asia, stuff like that, we have so good living now that nothing is really going on in your life anymore, right, in people's lives. So I'm thinking like you don't, most of the Western, like I said, all these places I mentioned, like that you can just go to the supermarket. There's plenty of food, and you're not gonna starve anything. Like, and then what is going on in your life other than you work, you come home, you do your thing, and then like there's no bigger purpose in your people's lives anymore in these parts of the world anymore, right? Like, there's of course people have kids and stuff, but that just becomes trivial, and people just get bored, and then they look maybe to the internet and or other places and see all these things. So do you think that some of all this stuff just comes out of boredom in a way of our good living?
In a sense, I would like to agree. I wouldn't maybe call it boredom because I don't feel like that describes what people are feeling. It's sort of the same thing that people bully, right? People bully others in schools and whatever. They don't do it out of boredom. They do it because they get a kick out of it. They get energy, they get adrenaline from making other people suffer in a way, by making them express their feelings. And a lot of the time, this comes from their way of growing up, their parents, their sometimes a lot of bullies have parents that are quite distant. They don't know how to cope with the environment. So, because they have a miserable time, they uh, sort of project that onto their victims by bullying them. And I think that is a little bit of the whole cancel culture. And it's also the whole mob mentality where people want to stand together and they want to think that they're doing the right thing. So it's so easy today to get facts wrong. And I think one of the most notable things that I was involved in lately was when there was a charity event on Twitch, and it was right around what was his name? Dr. Disrespect got banned, and then also I don't know if you've ever heard about Say No to Rage. He also got banned. He was quite big in the Destiny community, I know.
And
And
I know that the disrespect, and I heard about his uh, all the stuff he happened with him and stuff like that, but I never heard about the other person.
yeah, well, there was a whole story about he being a sexual predator. And when the story actually came out, that wasn't the whole truth. It was basically word against word, where one person says, okay, so you're going to accuse me of something that happened 3 years ago when you was okay with it now. And it was basically a person changed their mind, and people grouped up and said, oh yeah, no, this person is horrible, they should get cancelled, they should be banned, they shouldn't be allowed to be on social media, they should be in jail. But when the story actually came out, it sort of seemed pretty harmless. And it's that mob mentality where you hear one story, you don't do any facts checking, and you just jump on the first thing where you think that you can do the quote unquote good thing.
Hmm.
I think that's where the cancel culture comes from. When it comes to the whole sort of being toxic online, I think that's more in nature of just classic bullying. It's just so much easier to do it now when we're on the internet. You create a online alias and nobody knows who you really are, so you feel safe and protected behind your computer, your monitor. And I've been exposed to that as well, thanks to, I don't know if you remember TDM 3000.
No, is that from where?
Trove.
Oh, is this
Uh,
okay?
he was one of the large people in Equinox's community. Played a lot with Equinox and with Etern. Uh, so he one day thought it was going to be fun harassing me and harassed me on stream and also in game. Ended up banning him, and he became really sour about that. He has created over 120 accounts on Twitch with all inappropriate names only to get exposure and get a reaction out of me. And it's this whole thing where people feel like they're protected around a barrier where they cannot be hurt, because how will we hurt them? Because they are just an online alias. Little do they know, when they actually carry out their actions, it's the same as people stealing, right? You might think, oh, it's harmless, nobody will ever see me, there's no cameras, no nothing. Do thieves get caught? Most of the time, yes.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
it ever hits the lights, it will definitely be out there. And I think that that's important as well. Companies cracking down on people being harassing other people, it should not be allowed. There should be a no tolerance rule where any sort of thing should be looked over. I know that that would put a lot of strain on the companies, but the same way that you're not allowed to bully in school, you're not allowed to bully at work, why should you be allowed to bully online? Only because the companies say that, oh, we can't go ahead and put down that investment to actually look after everyone. Well, that's what we have at schools. We have teachers looking over at workplaces. You can always raise the voice. If I raise the voice on a online service, if I raise my voice on Twitter, on Twitch, it's not going to do anything. Nobody's going to look over it. It will be ignored unless I have a really massive audience.
I don't know if you heard that. Sorry, there was a big bang. There is a thunderstorm going on, so cross my fingers that nothing happened. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no
I saw
worries.
my thing light up on screen. The green circle light up on screen. So I was just like, yeah, I think maybe some people might have heard that one. So I apologize, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think I was done at that point.
But I'm I'm really sorry that people, somebody, are acting like that. I can relate in a little bit because I actually talked about, because I actually posted the Moby video for like a premiere thing for next Wednesday, and somebody, like, I went to the video, and you can already comment on the video because it's like premiere thing, and you can already like, and dislike the video, and somebody already disliked the video. There's nothing on the video, like it was nothing there, but somebody has already disliked it, and that's just a small thing, right? And I talked about this with Equinox yesterday. I was like, this video already has a dislike, right? And for being such a small channel that I am, I also get messages where people say, or comment on my video. I don't get any direct messages. I just get on my videos that people say, "Oh, this video sucks," and that's all they say, or "You don't know what you're talking about," and stuff like that. And maybe I don't, but the thing is, like, they don't, they feel like they can just say whatever they want, and I feel like that relates to your what you're saying about the cancel thing. But it's like, I haven't, thank God, and I hope I never will, have that extensive harassment from a person. Like, I don't understand. I don't see, like, if you make 120 accounts on Twitch just to harass somebody, you are. I'm just gonna say it. You're not normal in the head, and that's okay. Like, if that guy is coming after me now, go ahead, sure, do whatever you want. But I'm just saying, if you go that extensively to harass somebody, because it is harassment at that point. Like, if you, like, troll somebody, right? That's just troll. Like, you troll somebody and you say, "Nice, you gotta stop," and then you don't stop, and you ban the person. The person makes a new account and says, "Oh, you shouldn't have banned me. I was just joking or kidding." That's just trolling in a way. That's maybe a little bit of extra trolling in a way. Like,
Yeah.
but if you make 120 accounts, then you are definitely in the harassment category, like, for sure, and that's as not okay. Either it's in real life or it's in online, whatever it is, it's still harassment. You're still a real person on the other side. Whatever you're texting to the other person, that person can see whatever you're texting, and that's the same as saying something. Words are
Yeah.
also, even though it's not coming out of your mouth, it's just coming on paper, well, in a chat. It's still words. It's still something that people read and get through their brain, just like you do when you say things to people, and it just works exactly the same.
Yeah, an action is going to definitely say more than words will. And I guess touching on that subject, then, if we are going to move on more a little bit towards Twitch and how you behave on Twitch, by the time where you actually don't listen to the content creator or their moderators, and you actually do end up getting banned, it's quite something that Twitch should take more seriously, because there is a thing in the TOS where you're not allowed to do something that's called a ban evasion, aka avoiding a ban by doing something. You can appeal your ban, that's completely fine, that's within TOS. But when you do ban evasion, which would be creating a new account to text in the channel where you have been banned, that is a bannable offense on Twitch. You can be banned off the platform for ban evasion. And I feel like that's something that should be taken a lot more seriously, especially when you create 5, 10, 100 accounts. I'd say by the point that you've created 5 accounts, you should be perma banned. Just get the person, get their IP, because I know Twitch can do that, and then just ban the IP outright. At that point, they would have to get a new router, a new computer, whatever they want. But at that point, you're actually putting them into a position where they have to spend their finances to actually get something different going for them. And I feel like that would put more of a hindrance on people acting out whatever they are doing. So I definitely feel like there should be more of a consequence of, I guess, being a asshole if you were on the internet. But I definitely agree. It's just sad. It's one of those topics that I tend to shed light on every now and then. But, people are going to be people. Bullies are always going to be bullies. They will always exist for whatever reason they do. And we won't get rid of them. So all we can do is just hope that the companies and regulators, aka the lawmakers, actually come through. Online, Twitch, social media, it's still very new. We haven't had it for more than, what's that, maybe 10, 15 years now. It's not that long in the grand scheme of how long our laws have been written for. So I feel that the regulators, lawmakers should step in and do a lot more work. We need to catch up with the current times. Same goes with hardware, for example. I know here in Sweden, they tried to pass a law back when we still had flip phones, was it, I think? Or at least the early adoption of micro USB. More specifically, micro USB Type B. That one, they tried to set a precedent or pass a law that stated you are only allowed to have this one type of connector. That law was in the making for, I think, about 10 years. By that time, it was outdated because we have USB Type-C. The act of making new regulations needs to be sped up tremendously because of the speed at which the world is evolving. In USA and in most countries, you get a new president or whatever your equivalent is every 4 years. That's at least the norm. Okay, so we get a new ruling every 4 years, and the technology is advancing way faster than that, but we can't write a new law in 10, 12 years? Something is off, if you feel me.
Yeah, I do. And so all laws, a law, that's like something really out of my wheelhouse, I would say. But I if we talk about like at least the people on like Twitch and the people that are around that, like I feel like there's so many offensive. If we're talking about not only on Twitch, but Blizzard just had their thing, and what was it else? Method had there as well. They had that little bit back later where they also just closed their eyes to some stuff, and I'm just that people keep updating their TUSs and codex of conduct and all these things, but people also have to live by them. It's cool that it's all on paper and says like it's all there in the screen and say like we are gonna, beat the bullies, and we're not gonna have anybody that's gonna do this or that and stuff like that. But if you don't follow those yourself, and actually uphold the law or the conducts or the guidelines and stuff like that, if you don't uphold them as the ones that should be doing so, that's the problem that to be created, where there's no consequences, or nobody's gonna do something about it, if that makes any sense, or at least
Exactly.
uphold the law, right? Like the police would probably should do, right? Like if you're in the real world, right?
Yeah. And then we get into people abusing that power, such as, what was that, like last year with the police brutality being quite harsh in America. So I definitely feel that the people writing the, whatever you have, your TOS, your ULS, whatever you want to call it, it's all terms of service in a way. Even laws are sort of a terms of service. You agree to the terms when you decide to live in that country. And I feel like that's what I said in the beginning, where they should be forced to actually stand by what they say. And I don't feel like a automatic robot is something that is always go-to. I feel like the companies should be forced into hiring more people so that you can actually look over requests, especially repeated requests, repeated reports. And when I say repeated, I mean like 3 times. 3 times maximum, and you should get an actual human being to look over the requests and honestly look into it. Because if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to uphold your own terms of service, then how will you get people to abide by it?
You're not gonna, like, if you don't put a, like, it's the same when you talked about being a teacher, right? If you as a teacher just gonna say, yeah, you guys can just do whatever you want, I don't care what you guys do in class, you can just, if you don't make your homework, I don't care, and stuff like that, then of course the kids are not going to care about it, because you are not setting a good example. So if you put a good example and you involve yourself with it, then they're also gonna be engaged and be with it. Especially also like on platforms like Twitch, for example. If the admins and the whatever are showing what's it called, the way, basically, if they are the quote unquote, when you said leaders, right? They're the leaders of Twitch land, right? Twitch is the country that we live in and watch our things and stuff like that. And if the leaders don't care, then of course we are not going to care, because there's no consequences behind it. Like, we can do whatever we want, and it's people's nature to be chaotic, because it's just how we roll. If we are not supervised in a way, if we don't know, we're chaos is fun, right? Chaos is fun, but until at a certain point it just goes out of hand for some people, and then some people get hurt and stuff like that. And yeah.
I don't think that it's so. I'm just gonna change one thing that you said, and that was you're not gonna. It's not good if you say, "Oh, I don't care what you do." It's more so in this scenario where, let's say, I give out homework and I say it has to be due by Monday, and if it's not due by Monday, you get 1 hour after school where you sit down and do your homework. That's me setting the rules. If I now don't apply those rules or apply them selectively, that's where the issue comes in, because then people don't know, am I meaning it? Will they get punished? If I'm being if I'm being sure to apply it every single time, then people know, okay, if they said they will give me 1 hour extra work of school time if I do not do my homework, then they will do their homework.
Yeah.
So it's about being consistent and actually enforcing the rules that you set, and making sure that you can enforce whatever you set. And I think right now that sites and services are setting rules that they cannot enforce.
And I guess that goes with the whole conversation that we basically had for the past about half an hour or so. Is
Yeah,
that the people not keep changing their minds, but if you say like the gender thing we were talking about, right? Like if somebody says today I'm this, tomorrow I'm that, that's just confusing people. So that makes people confused. It's the same thing with the rules and whatnot. If they say today, yeah, you have your homework, but then the next day it's like, yeah, I know I said yesterday you should do your homework, but today I'm not, and that's gonna confuse people, and that's then people are going to be confused, but also not follow the rules because there's no consequences to the rules, or yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So so I think it just all goes hand in hand, and again, it is definitely it's a reportable thing where it's like if you don't moderate your chat. I've seen that. I've reported a few streams over the long span of I've been on Twitch, and I've reported a few not for not moderating their chat, but for a couple other things. But I saw in there was one where it said, "Hey, yeah, you should. This person is not moderating its chat." So, and that's actually something you're supposed to do, as you said before. So it is a reportable thing for yeah.
And I actually have only one example. Over my 6 years on the platform, have I only ever seen one person actually get those rules enforced. That was actually Goofy.
Oh, a
He
goofy
got,
Kev.
yeah,
Okay.
he got I think it was a 1 day ban for not moderating his chat.
Oh,
That was during Twitch drops, so it was quite chaotic.
during
I'll
these
give,
Twitch drops around Trove.
yes.
Wow, really? Okay. He's never said anything about that, so I thought that he would have said something about it. But that's crazy. Like, I have never. Uh, I have moderators, but I have two of them, and that usually or was before in past like a year ago was moderating my chat. I also want to say that I feel like if we're talking about Twitch chat and stuff like that, I also feel like Twitch chats do uh, uh, reflect the person that's on the screen, basically. So
For
if
sure.
you're a very trollish person, then you're also going to draw in uh, troll people, basically. I feel like because you have the same mentality, but they haven't been moderating my chat for like I haven't streamed that much in the last 6 months, but during all Twitch show drops I did my own managing, and I didn't receive any and I didn't moderate. I think I timed
Well,
out one person during those months where I
so
streamed that.
the difference is, so when you were talking about moderating,
Hmm.
even though you're just looking at chat and reading chats,
Hmm.
that is moderating your chats.
Oh, okay.
So what they mean by you did not moderate your chat is if something went awry and someone did something that is against TOS and you did not punish them or enforce the Twitch TOS upon them,
Hmm.
then that is you not moderating your chat because you are not following the guidelines that you abide by when you become a content creator on the platform.
Okay. So,
So that is where it goes, and sometimes it might be it's very very finicky finding the silver lining of what do I do and what do I not do, what can slip, what is a joke and what is not a joke. That is why for me I usually delete to be safe rather than sorry.
delete VODs or one.
More so delete messages. For
Oh.
example, I know Twitch is a little bit iffy when it comes about age. So in my chat, for my personal own well-being and my peace of mind, someone talks about age, whether it be jokingly or not, just delete a message
Hmm.
and say like, don't talk about that. Same goes with anything political. Anything political is strictly forbidden inside of my chats, and the same goes with religion because a lot of people are passionate about their religion,
Hmm.
and I endorse them. I feel like that should be good. But the thing is that you also have someone of a different religion being passionate about their religion, and then you get a clash.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
mine's better than yours is better than mine, who knows?
Hmm.
And that's where it becomes iffy, and then I just tend to try to keep that on the down low and not even discuss it in the at all.
Hmm. But yeah, so you actually, now that you say the age thing, I remember you also said that in my chat that because you were in my chat and somebody talked about, I don't know what the age thing was, or I don't know if they asked me how what my age was, or like somebody else asked another viewer what their age was or something like that. Not in a like how old are you guys, like in a
Yeah,
mean way. It
yeah.
was just like how old are you or whatever. I think maybe there might have been that, but you said that there was an age thing, and I was like, I've never heard about that. I thought that it was because it's never been, to me it's not an never been an issue that people, whatever people's age are, of course. uh, I've met very mature people that are 11 and 12, but you should be you're supposed to be 13, or is that Discord or is that Twitch as well? Do you know?
Well, the thing goes, if you're not 13, so if you're 12 and under,
Hmm.
then you are allowed to be on the platform, but supervised, which
Okay.
means that your parents have created the account, the parents are the owners of the account, and they have taken their responsibility of saying, yes, this person is allowed to be on the platform. You're not allowed to be a streamer, aka a content creator, unless you're 13.
Hmm.
So anyone who's below the age of 13 is not allowed to be a content creator. So that is sort of where in America you have to be 13 to be counted as being able to take decisions.
Hmm.
And when it comes to saying your age, well, you don't really have a what's I guess power to say what you want unless you are 18, because you're still a minor until you're 18, at least in America.
Hmm.
And because of that, if you are not the owner of the account, which you're technically not allowed to be unless you are 18,
Hmm.
then if you describe that this is my account, I own it, I do everything on it, then technically you are breaking TOS because you're not allowed to be the owner of the account. And the same goes, my channel, I have it marked for mature content
Hmm.
because I don't want to get people who are sensitive to swearing, which I have in the past. And whenever someone is sensitive to swearing, I just know that I'm instantly going to ban them because anyone who's 18 and over will be able to take a swear word.
Hmm.
And that's also one thing that I have to be very strict about in my chat.
Hmm.
Anyone who's the age of 17 or lower should be strictly banned from my channel because they are not allowed to be there because they technically do not qualify by the TOS.
Hmm.
Because I have set on my channel this is for mature content.
Hmm. So you are very by the rules. Like the rules is like clear cut. Like there's
Some of
no. I'm not saying we just talked about that we should follow the rules and stuff like that. Do you
yeah,
think that there's any possibility to um, like look behind an age? Like let's
yes,
say I get a person that's like 16, and I'm talking to the person like for a whole month, and then the person like asks how old I am, and I'm gonna say I'm 35, and he's like, okay, cool, and I'm gonna be like, how old are you? He's like 16, and he says, oh, you're 16? I had no idea you were 16. You felt like you were much older. You're so well spoken. You're so polite and stuff like that. Like, what would be like? What is the age thing like there? Like, why is that person getting like not not get a penalty, but if you are a nice and well spoken and yeah, 16-year-old, why shouldn't you be in my chat or your chat?
yeah. Well, that also then comes back to, well, look at laws. So if I might be the brightest, most intelligent person, and I can handle, let's say, mechanics very, very well, I can drive a car, no problem. I'm not allowed to get a license at the age of 14. Why? Because the law states so.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter because they have to make a generalization. You are not allowed to make your own decision on your own accord until you're at the age of 18.
Hmm.
You're not allowed to own something. You can't make a decision for your own life until you are 18, at least in America. And since Twitch is an American company, we have to abide by that.
Hmm. Well.
By making a generalization, we do penalize people who might be brighter and might be very nice people to be around because we have to make a distinction somewhere.
Hmm.
We can't make a rule being per person basis, being like, okay, you are this level of maturity, because that will be up to interpretation. When something is up to interpretation, there will always be loopholes.
Hmm.
Let's
Sure.
say that we have a person who is a bully and they think that they have a certain level of maturity, or maybe one other channel thinks that they have, and then they go into a different one and say, no, you're not allowed here. Then that person will complain to Twitch saying, why am I allowed here, not here? And it's up to a
Hmm.
per person basis.
I do completely agree on that there should be rules and it should apply to everyone. I'm just my point was just like I can also see the humanity in a way in that person
Yeah.
being like I am 16 only but I act like I am 25. There's 20 people on Twitch that's 25 and acts like they're 12 for example or 11 years old, right?
Yep.
But I'm just saying that of course the rules should be there. I was just like sometimes I could see bending the rules a little bit, but I would if in a clean cut scenario, I of course would rather have the all the rules apply to everyone. And even though you are the nicest, smartest, most articulate 16-year-old, that rule should also apply to you, and you should see wait a couple of years until you can, you know, uh, do your Twitch thing, basically. So I'd rather have rules than no rules. Like, if we
Yeah.
really want to put it in one or the other. So.
And I think that that is okay, because so long as the person is not deliberately expressing that they do not fit in where they are. So at least in my chat, I know I have people who are below the age of 18. I know that I do.
Hmm.
But I won't ban them because they haven't done anything warranted me questioning them. And because of that, I if they, you know, do something, or at least when someone shows up and they are not the proper age, I will ban them and then make this slight little nod that, oh yeah, I know that you're at the age of 18, right? Because, otherwise you wouldn't allow to be here.
Hmm.
You just make it clear that I am aware that they are not allowed to be there, but I'm making an exception because they have not done anything to prove me wrong. And
Hmm.
I feel like that should be okay because we are sort of just making a nicer community, because I feel like making a very strict rule where you are enforcing rules for no reason, then yes, but the rules should still be there. But I feel like it's up to the content creator sort of bending those to some degree.
Hmm.
And that's where the humanity comes into it. Like, you still have to be a human. We are not robots, and I hope to God that we never become robots that are just. I'm just gonna follow the rule
Yeah.
line by line because
Well.
those people are annoying sometimes.
Yeah. Well, until Skynet rises up, we will still be human. Yeah.
True.
Well, I do think that it's very interesting in that aspect of talking about rules and if they should be upheld and all those stuff. But um, like I said before, don't you think that also, because I've never, in all the time I've had, and I'm not saying that because I feel like you're saying that you've experienced people with the age problem, with the religion problem, with the politics problem, and I'm not saying you attract those people. I haven't seen your stream enough to know this, but I feel like in my chat at least, and it's, when I say that, I feel like I'm saying, "Oh, your chat is," but I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that I've seen people on Twitch that is a troll person, and then they also have a troll chat. And I just feel like I said in my chat, people are usually very respectful. I have the only people I've ever banned in my stream is that's all the bots that comes and tells you want to be famous and you can go
Yep.
and get yourself some followers. I have timed out a few people, and then they've come back, and then they've just been cool about it, and that's maybe happened maybe a handful of times over whatever 5 years I've been streaming. I feel like the I wouldn't say the troll, but the hate or whatever you're gonna say it, the nasty comments more is on YouTube for me at least. I've never had it in my in my live chat. Like, maybe I've had somebody pop in and say you suck, and then like they never said anything anymore. Like, I don't know, maybe we're just on a tour, but I don't know. Do you think it, like I said it before, like reflects on the streamer as well, that attracts that?
Yeah, I do. For me, I've never had an issue with the age. I've never been in a position where that has been an issue.
Oh, okay.
I've always used the age as an excuse to ban someone that is getting on my nerves because I know that they're below the age that they're allowed to be in my chats.
Hmm.
So it's sort of bending the rules to my benefit because I'm like, I know you're not 18, so I will blame it on the fact that you're not 18, and that's why I will ban you instead of
Hmm.
just being, you're being stupid, get out of here.
Okay.
And when it comes to the whole getting on topics of like religion and stuff like that, politics, it's more so I'm very open and I like to discuss every single type of topics.
Hmm.
And because of that, I think that my chat tends to also open up on a lot of things. I also like to rant and like view one problem from many different angles. So I tend to break it down and I tend to stay on one topic for a long time. And I think that is what attracts people to open up and
Hmm.
talk about all of their issues. And that can be politics, politicians, religions, whatever you have.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have an issue with it. More so that my issue is people are being too honest for their own good inside of my chats.
Okay. So you don't think people are attracted to your welcoming of discussions, maybe?
Exactly. I think that people are welcomed to open up about anything because of how I tend to approach problems
Hmm.
by not discouraging any questions, not discouraging any type of topic, whether it be someone saying this is dog shit
Hmm.
and another person saying this is beautiful. Then I would rather go and break it down. Why do you think it's bad? Why do you think it's good? And
Hmm.
try to understand at least to discuss it and then sometimes change the mind of the other person
Hmm.
for better or good.
Yeah.
And that invites a lot of open discussions.
Yeah. 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 I feel like when I want to make an example of that is that, like, if you walk down the street and you see a person that's like dressed in all black or whatever, you kind of have some sort of signal that this person you don't want to talk to. Like, I feel
Yep.
like the same thing is with streaming. If a person is um, because people jump in and out of streams all the time, and not only on Trove but also on other games. And if they can feel like the person, if they've been there for like 2 minutes and some person have a discussion, then they want a discussion, like they like discussions as well. They're gonna stick around, and then they're gonna feed into it, and so on and so on. So I think, like, I rarely have discussions on stream because I don't like those discussions. Like, mostly because I'm not very smart, but it's also just because I don't think I'm signaling. I'm not showing those signals. Like people don't feel like that's what they're gonna be there for. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and that is where content creation is so hard because everyone has their own personality, right?
Mm.
That's why Twitch is also such a beautiful place because
Mm.
there's so many channels. It's so large, and I think that's a very good thing where the people say that exposability on Twitch is hard, and in a sense I agree, but at the same time I don't agree because there are so many different filters and tags that you can sort by that it makes it a lot easier. And most of the channels that I watch now might be larger, but they all started out as small channels.
Mm.
Most of the channels that I started watching had 20, 30 viewers when I started watching them, and I watched them to this day, and now they are somewhere around 200-300 viewers daily. So it makes a large difference as well, being with a person as they grow. And I tend to do that still. If I want to find a new channel, I don't like going into a large channel, at least for my own personal benefit. I like to be the person who scrolls down, find the person who might be 10, 15 viewers, jump in, start chatting a little bit, see who they are, vibe with them. If I don't click, I just move on to the next one.
Mm. Yeah,
And
100%. There's a lot of people that do that on Twitch. Like people not always takes like the biggest or the first person. Like usually, like most people do, but there's also people that go for those smaller channels. I like, for example, myself smaller channels because when I want, I'm not a big chatter. I like to just watch. It sounds creepy, but that's who I am. But when I choose to do interact with the content creator there or the streamer, I also want that person's attention. That's why I'm typing in chat. That's not, maybe sometimes it's also to get other people's attention in the chat, whatever. If you're having some kind of talk with somebody else, but mostly it's for the content creator. That's why I'm there, and that doesn't happen in the big channels. It just happens in the smaller ones. So that's why I also prefer myself for having those smaller ones. But to kind of talk about the thing you said about just like YouTube, Twitch also has that when you're if you watch a certain game for a little bit that you haven't seen before, or a new streamer or whatever, that's going to get recommended to you to see that. For example, so recently, we had all those hot tub streamers and stuff like that, and I went to one of their channels to kind of see what it was all about, and then the next day I had like three of I think there was 5 channels recommended, and 3 of them was these hot tub streamers. And I was like, okay, like I watched it once Twitch. Okay, let me just so by going around, it is going to recommend you suddenly, watch a bit of Trove, then it's going to recommend me or somebody else that's in the directory of Trove, right? So, yeah, it's very important to look at the recommended, because you might find your new favorite streamer or content creator in all of that,
yeah, I think it's important to go around and actually look for people that you like and enjoy instead of just going with the first pick. And you never know what you will find. Sometimes you will find this hidden gem, and you being that one viewer adds one viewer, pushes them up the list one step, and then another person finds them, and that's how you build a community.
Exactly. So I don't want to. I don't want to say it right now, but maybe it's a good place to end the conversation. It's actually been an hour. I know. I just looked at the time. I was just so invested in. I'm always invested in these conversations, and I tend to not get to look at the clock, but I managed to look at it right now, and it's actually been an hour. So I don't know how you feel about ending. We can go on a little bit longer, but I like to keep them around an hour. But
yeah, no, I think it's a definitely good place to end it off. Definitely a more positive topic than we started off on.
Yeah. And so not bringing people down. Be happy. Just be happy. Just that's the demand, and then Like that's what you should take away from it. No,
Be happy and
no,
be
I think
you.
it's a great conversation, and usually, again, I feel like when I say this, people feel like they have to, but I don't think people have to. But the people I talk to usually, it's very awkward, and I'm very awkward at ending, these. So people we tend to talk like for 20 minutes and half an hour afterwards because it's just now we finally got the conversation going. So now it's just it's just weird to end it up there. But yeah, I think it's a great stopping point. So I won't blabber on too much for people's in their ears. So thank you so much, Fox. I'm saying that right. You said you should call you Fox, but maybe you should pronounce it yourself if I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, no, I go by a few different names. You can call me Fox, Phoxsty, Ellie, whatever you feel like.
Yeah,
Those are my three most common ones.
yeah.
And thank you for having me. It's been a very wonderful conversation.
So when you say Phoxsty, that's because that's what you had named on Discord as well, and also on your
Yep,
Twitch now, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Phoxsty is my main name, and you can find me on all of the social medias under Phoxsty.
Yeah. I always post people's. Do you want your Twitch down there, or something else you want down? And I put it. I usually. I didn't do it for Moby, of course. That's a given. But usually
Yeah.
when I have a content creator on, I put their some links to down so people can find them, because maybe again, like we just talked about, is that maybe somebody who's like Fox is just amazing. I think he has the best opinions, and I'm so happy he went on the podcast. And then they're gonna go look you up maybe, and because they want more of you, right? So that's why I always put something down there if there is something for putting down there, if that makes any sense. Description on YouTube. It's also on Spotify, but yeah, I think people can just go find it on YouTube as well. So do you have something you want put there, or?
Yeah, no, you can definitely find me on my Twitch. It's
Yeah.
twitch.tv/Phoxsty, spelled Phoxsty, Phoxsty. And it's been lovely.
Yeah. On YouTube, they'll just scroll down and click it. I think that's probably like super easier for people when they do so. But like Spotify, yeah, they can find you as well. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll we'll just
Yeah,
end here.
thank you very much.